Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in here. Publicly Buzzed Live, a special show here tonight on a Monday evening. Thanks for coming in. Really appreciate it. I've got a special guest, someone that has been on this since it happened, Lauren Conlin from Pop Crime TV. All of the deets are down in the description. Make sure you're giving her a follow. We're going to be diving into this here tonight. Thank you so much. Hit the like, share it out on X. Let's rock.
Let's rock.
Hello, everybody. Welcome in here. Thank you for coming in. I really appreciate it. Yeah, right now I have an awesome guest backstage. Again, if you aren't following Lauren Conlin, make sure you do. All of the deets are down below because she is in deep on so many different cases. It's awesome. She's in New York City and has been boots on the ground during this entire thing, going to on locations, literally tracking Luigi Mangione. So we're going to get in here. We're going to talk about it. Let's get her in here right now. Thanks everyone for coming in over from Defense Diaries. Really appreciate it. If you haven't hit the like, please do so. That really helps us out. And what the hell's going on here? Lauren, what's up?
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it.
Of course. I froze while I was making that really excited face. I look like a psycho. Awesome.
Every once in a while, I'll kind of do a little bit of freezing or jumping too, but hopefully it'll be okay.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm used to making ridiculous faces and having the screen freeze. So, yeah, I'm right at home.
But my God, what a crazy day. I was in your live earlier when you were going over some stuff, and it was this was kind of breaking while you were live, right? They had just got him in Pennsylvania. So
yes. And I actually had filmed, we had taped Nancy Grace about, an hour before that. And we were all like, this is really interesting because by the time this airs, we're gonna know his name, and we're almost certain of that. So we were kind of doing some retapes here and there. So I'm interested. I haven't heard the episode or watched the episode, but I'm sure there's been some edits. But it's always really fascinating to be in the middle of a case like this when it's unsolved, listening to her experts as well, that, I end up following and sinking my claws in after as well. So I was ready. But Steve, it's crazy because this morning, right before filming Nancy, and just to give you an idea, whenever I do a Nancy taping, she asks really, really detailed questions. I mean, I had this ongoing joke with myself that she's going to ask me the family dog's name if really though, it's crazy. Like the other day she was like, do you know how many surveillance cameras are in New York City? And I'm like, not off the top of my head, but I can find out. So I was just looking through some things and I was like, what's interesting? It's like, we all think he's coming from Atlanta, but that's really not the case here. It was the route from Atlanta. So I looked into, and this is on the way into New York City. So I feel like them, law enforcement going to Atlanta was some kind of backtracking here based on whatever they had found yesterday. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
But so that bus, the Atlanta line, they had seen him in DC at some point on film. That's where they first captured him. So I don't know if he was in Atlanta. Now, the Port Authority bus terminal that he came into, it's on 8th Avenue and it's in Midtown. I think it's like 37th Street or something like that. But the one he left from is 178th Street, which is way uptown. And that one, it only services like 3 major cities. So it was Boston, Philadelphia, and DC. So I was like, well, wait a minute. How do we know he's in Atlanta? I mean, he probably only went to one of these cities and transferred from there. So I'm literally screenshotting this. And then, yeah, sure enough, the news broke. He's in Pennsylvania. And
you were hot. You were hot on his trail. Like you literally were getting it as basically the police were getting it. Did you see the presser that just happened?
The one at 1:30 today?
There was one that just happened about 30 minutes ago.
Oh, I did not.
And I've got a clip up here because they actually have the police officer that actually, I think he had a partner too, but they've only got one of them here. But he's only been on the department for 6 months. So and I'm going to actually show it right now because he kind of goes over the story of what happened here. Let me get the sound up here.
That'd be really helpful.
But this is crazy. But yeah, we're in real time right now, folks. News is breaking. Also, I do want to warn, there's a lot of misinformation and fake news out there as well. There's everything's just kind of speculation. A lot of alleged stuff is going on. We probably at the end of the day need to wait for some more official word. But I'm the same. I'm in the same boat. I get caught up in it. I kind of send out a lot of stuff. And so did you see the thing about the possibility of him? And I think the community note on it said it was fake, but I still recorded it. And the YouTube channel's been taken down since, but the YouTube channel and video that he posted.
I did see that. And at first, I think you had tweeted something like, I don't know if this is real. And I was thinking,
I want to put that on there because, I don't fucking know.
That was smart of you because I didn't either. It seemed too perfect almost. So I screenshotted it when I initially saw it and I kept the link. But once they took it down, I thought, this probably was real.
So this is kind of crazy, and this is from second hand. I was in another stream and seen somebody else talking about this. But so some of the pictures that are coming out now, of course, the one where he's holding the Happy Meal. Have you seen that one?
Yes.
So that was the picture on the YouTube channel that he used for his profile pic. All right. So think about that for a minute. What was found in the backpack? Monopoly money. What did McDonald's used to do? The Monopoly game. Yeah. So people were kind of posting it together like this is a bigger picture than it actually possibly is. Mm-hmm. And then of course the video was kind of teasing something's going to happen on the 11th of this month. And so.
Yeah, so I didn't get to, I didn't get to.
The hole's getting deeper. It's getting wild.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. And I mean, this guy is a really intelligent guy. I did go kind of.
That is true.
Yeah, on his LinkedIn. But no, I was getting my kids dinner and shower and all that stuff 30 minutes. So I missed this press conference. Was there anything new that was released? Now I'm dying to know.
Not really. And we can go over more pieces than what I'm just going to show right here. But basically, they're basically just kind of pushing it off. They're not giving a lot of new details. Basically the newest info, actually, I have it up right here. According to a newly released criminal complaint, a local at the McDonald's called the police after recognizing Luigi from surveillance footage. Cops arrived to find the 26-year-old, sitting at a table where he was looking at a laptop. They asked him to pull his mask down, and he immediately recognized him as a suspect. One of the officers asked Mangione if he had been to New York recently, and the alleged killer came quiet and started to shake. And they do say this in the presser. Yeah. The officers asked for his ID, and he handed them the fake ID that he got into the hostel with. And it's a fake New Jersey ID. He revealed his name when the cops asked why he lied. And basically, he gave himself up immediately. He said, I clearly shouldn't have done that. There was no struggle or anything. He was handcuffed and placed in custody. Investigators discovered a black 3D printed pistol and a black 3D printed silencer in a backpack. The pistol had a one loaded Glock magazine with 6 9mm full metal jacket rounds. Mangione, I'm probably butchering his name, has been charged with forgery, carrying firearms without a license, tampering with records or identifications, processing an instrument of crime, and providing false identification to law enforcement. So that's basically the best rundown.
Yeah.
But I do want to show this.
It's nothing new, I guess.
So this is cool just because this police officer's been on the force for 6 months, and then this happens.
I can't imagine everybody at McDonald's.
Oh, dude.
What?
Yeah, and I guess, it was a customer, according to this anyways, that let an employee know, and then the employee... Oh, my God. Did you see... I don't know if I still have it up. And it may be fake. There's so much bullshit, but there was a... I can't find it, Raw. But
it's gonna be crazy to parse out what's fake, what's real. It's
they had put that Burger King had tweeted basically that we wouldn't have snitched or something along those lines. I don't know if that's real.
Oh my gosh, that cannot be real. That's really funny though.
Dude.
No, it's so I shared this with you.
Yeah. Tell this real quick.
Well, no, this is okay. So earlier today, I was poking fun at, and I shouldn't say poking fun, but I wanted to point out some of the ridiculousness that was going on in terms of people saying, oh, they're in love with the shooter and whatnot. And so I clipped it and I put it on Twitter, and it was literally just happened to be 4 ridiculous tweets in a row. and it said like, did you finish your McDonald's at least? You'll always be a legend, bro. I'm sure you had your reasons. I'll put some money on your commissary, baby. Stay strong. And I said, like, I don't understand what is wrong with society. And the message I got from someone in my DMs was, I'm unfollowing you. This is shameful. You have more sympathy for a CEO killed from malicious profiteering over the thousands that, oh no, sorry. You have more sympathy for a CEO killed than the thousands that the CEO killed from malicious profiteering. And I'm like, what are you even talking about? This doesn't make any sense. Like,
yeah, like the jump to these extremes on in our society today is ridiculous. You can't have empathy for real victims of the healthcare in America, but also not be a piece of shit and want this man killed in cold blood in the street. Everything's stupid.
I have sympathy for these people. I don't know each one of them by
name. We are those people.
Like them by name, but you know what I do have, Steve? I do have video footage of a man being murdered in cold blood.
100%.
So yeah, like I kind of feel like maybe I can focus on that for a day. Is that okay with you, random person? I mean, and like I think most of you probably know me. Like I don't really fight with people. I have enough stress and things where my brain needs to go, and it's really not there. But it's like it takes everything to not be like,
oh, dude, I know. I feel like I'm getting better at it, but it's not been that long since I was not so good at it, and I would go really, really crazy on there. Before I realized, I was like, man, you'll drive yourself crazy. Like you kind of just got to step back, and because people are entitled to their opinions, but also the majority of them are fucking idiots. And like, you're not going to change anyone's mind on the internet, right? Like,
yeah.
So that's where I'm kind of at now.
It's true. I wasn't trying to change anyone's mind. I just was shocked at how this was happening so quickly.
I've been completely shocked. Like, I mean, there is people in my private life on my Facebook page that make very similar comments. I mean, they're pretty pro that this murderer. There's no other way to say it. I mean, and I'm not going to lie. I'm no prude. I'll make jokes and I've laughed at the memes, but there's a fine line between that and actually wishing harm upon somebody. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Like I'm all for the jokes and you know what I mean? We live in a dark society. I get that, but come on, like I'm not wishing harm on somebody.
No, and I'm with you too. I love memes. Are you kidding me? I love a good meme. I just felt like I couldn't believe this was happening already. And it feels icky, I guess. It feels gross to know that, I mean, we saw this man lose his life on film, and I don't like it. I feel, ugh. But no, I had a feeling that it would be pretty soon after I did kind of hit some places over the weekend. I think you saw I went to the hostel, and every business that I visited surrounding the hostel, they all told me they gave up their footage to the NYPD, all of their surveillance. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's going to be caught in, a matter of days. It does take forever to go through a lot of that footage.
That's true.
They had so many eyes on it. So, and then outside of the hostel too, there was tons of cameras inside. And you know what? I want to point this out. They're calling him like the flirty assassin. He wasn't flirting. They wanted to make sure that he matched his ID, like his face actually matched the ID that he presented. So yeah, maybe there was some kind of exchange.
And I think that was kind of like leading into probably whoever posted that first, whether it was CNN or whichever news network were sensationalizing that a little bit to get that click, right? Like, oh, look, he's flirting, like, he's smiling. That was the vibe I got.
This is not really a flirtatious thing. It's literally checking his face for the ID. And yeah, if smiles were exchanged, cool, fine. But and again, so I tried to talk to the people at the front, and they definitely they weren't very forthcoming. They were friendly enough, but they said they weren't really supposed to speak further because of the open investigation, the fact that, they didn't want to heard anything that the police were doing, which right. Again, I understood, but it was just, it was really, really busy there. It's most people know hostels are really full of European travelers, I guess. So I thought I thought it was super helpful just to look at the area, see what's around there. And then it was really confusing too, Steve. And I think you saw on my stream this morning, just the fact that they stopped using the reporting about him coming up from the F train. I was really confused at where that went, what happened with that. Cause I was like, well, this is interesting too, because they have this footage. And I was like, is there two of these guys? But there's not.
I saw you talking about that a little bit earlier, actually, on your stream.
Yeah.
And I've seen people making the, allegations or just kind of looking at all the different pictures and trying to say, they're wearing different jackets or maybe even different shoes, which I think you went over earlier and kind of shown that they wore at least the same shoes in some of those photos.
Yeah, they were the same shoes. And I do, I have a friend that's active NYPD, and I kept saying, I mean, this looks like two different people, because it did. For a minute, I was like, the eyes look different, and he's like,
and it's not the best footage, and I mean, the saturation on each photo is vastly different. I mean, I don't think people are taking some of that stuff into account.
He told me to stop. He's like, just stop. He's like, they're the same person. And that's that. So I was like, okay, thank you for clarifying. So I felt like that was important to put out there as well. And then I brought up this morning that going to Central Park yesterday, that was also really interesting, because the water in Central Park, I mean, they're looking for the gun there. And if he did drop it in the lake, which is about 23 acres, Central Park in its entirety is about 843 acres, which is like 60 blocks and 3 avenues. It's huge. So I was like, why would he drop it in water that's only 6 feet deep when the reservoir is 10 blocks away, and that's like 20 to 40 feet deep? So
that's this area right here.
Yeah, so that's what they were searching yesterday. They had dive teams from Saturday, which was the 7th, into yesterday afternoon around 2:15. They packed up.
Damn, and yesterday would have been really cold, also, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it was actually not bad yesterday.
Oh, okay.
It was a decent day compared to what we've seen. But yeah, like, just, I guess, tracking his steps and figuring this stuff out. I also had seen that there was no cameras in Central Park. I was like, where the heck are all the cameras? So I feel like they might have used a GPS tracker to just sort of see that he stopped in that area, or else why would they send, so many resources over there
it feels like they knew something for sure was going on. And I can't wait to, we're going to check this out real quick. The young man the young police officer that actually found him, but I can't wait till we get a little bit more details, because I still see folks that are trying to go down kind of the conspiracy rabbit hole of, it's not him, because of this or because of that, or, they're literally comparing these photos that they're not the best quality, and they're I keep going back to saturation, but they're vastly different colored wise, and it's coming from different types of security cameras. They're all not uniform, and it's coming from all over the city. And I had no doubt during the entire time that this is New York City. There's no way that there's not a camera at all points finding this guy. And, they're going to follow him at least to a certain distance. He might have disappeared for a while, which he clearly did, to be gone for 5 days, but they're going to be on his trail for a while, and they're going to know some of these businesses that he's been visiting. And now they're really going to know, because they're going to put this together, man.
Yeah, so it's also interesting, Steve. They have him checking out of the hostel at one point, but they kind of explained the hostel, American Youth Hostel, that it's an automatic checkout, of some sort. And but really that was only for a day, and then he checked back in the next day. So I don't know what to make of that exactly, but we do know that he was in New York for 10 days. And I do know now how many cameras there are in Manhattan. In Manhattan alone, which maybe he traveled to other boroughs, but there are around 3,500 cameras in Manhattan. There are 25,000 cameras across all 5 boroughs. And I think the most, and I could be wrong, but I think they have the most cameras in the Bronx, I believe. Okay. I don't know if you recall, do you remember the Ghetto Cowboy? It was awful. The lasso grape, if you will, where they caught it on camera, the guy lassoing the girl with the belt.
I do. Yes, I do. And he pulled her behind the car. That was horrible. I do remember
horrible, but that was horrible. The Bronx, and I was
like 5 in the morning or something on the way back from work. Oh, I do remember that.
But
That was
imagine we
rough.
didn't have those cameras. I mean, it's incredible what they've been able to pick up. So yeah, I figured, they're combing through all of this right now. I mean,
Absolutely.
unless he's just sitting there telling them everything. I mean,
Which
who knows?
maybe they are the way, he got arrested there and he kind of was just like, all right, you got me. So he may at this point be like, you know what? Did you see some of the stuff? Again, take this however you want, folks. There may be some more information coming, but I saw that at least we're digging up that it seemed like he had a back surgery or a back injury. So maybe that would kind of lean into maybe him having some issues himself with, health insurance companies. And then his family, I think in it, again, maybe who knows, but his family owns some sort of, maybe even his family owns something
Country
crazy.
club. They own 2 country clubs.
Okay, country clubs. Okay.
Yeah, it sounds like his grandparents, they founded this one country club. I put it on Twitter, and I can't recall the name of it at the moment, but I just snapshotted the little blurb, and I believe those are his grandparents. And I did look up his parents' net worth in assets that they had in a trust. And I think asset wise, it was like $5 million, but I think their entire family net worth has got to be more than that. So
Yeah.
I think we can assume that he'll have a pretty good lawyer.
That's so crazy to come from that sort of lifestyle though, and do something like that.
Yeah. So, and that kind of leads me to believe, like, is there more to this? This guy was hyper intelligent. I mean, I went down a rabbit hole on his LinkedIn. I found this company, and here, Steve, I can share this with you. I don't even know. Oh, here's the I just found it on my browser. Turf Valley Resort is one of the little clubs. That's
Okay.
what it's called. Yeah, it's yeah, I guess it was founded in 1960. But anyway, let me see if I can send this. Is there a place for me to send this to you?
Can you send it through the messenger on X?
Oh, yeah, I can do that right now.
I'll get it there. It'll be perfect.
So this is wild. This is one of the companies that he founded with 2 other guys, or something that he was doing within that company. And I don't even know what to make of it at all. Here you are. And the company, it was called, hold on, I'm looking for the name. I had it up before, and now my stuff is a mess. Did you get that?
Yes, that's it right here.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like, you can see him, if you scroll to the middle, he's kind of teaching how to code like a GIF. And that's what I
was it
right?
This is him?
Yeah, so if you click on one of those, he has like instructions on how to code it. I'm just like, what?
Yeah, it seems like he's crazy smart.
Yeah, exactly. So his company was called, as you can imagine, I was stalking a lot of people that I thought were his friends or his associates. Let me pull. Okay, so his company was this, that he founded in 2014 with 2 other guys. It's called Uproar. It didn't seem to go anywhere, but I did try to contact the 2 other guys that were listed with him. Let me send you this as well. Here you are. And then I can also send you, Steve, his arrest information of when he was arrested in Hawaii in 2023. So that's interesting as well.
What was he arrested for in 2023?
What's that?
What was he arrested for in 2023?
He was arrested for trespassing. So this is interesting in the sense that it was really silly. I mean, let me find, actually, you know what? I tweeted it. You could find it there. So it seems really silly that he was arrested for this, right? I mean, a lot of public parks will say no trespassing. People will, walk in and nothing will happen to them. But they, they took it all the way with this one. And I believe it ended in a fine, but there was no arrest affidavit. So,
this right here?
Yeah, there it is. I want the story behind it, I guess. It's like, what was he doing? Where was he going? Of course, it could be nothing. Of course, right?
Right.
But it's like, trespassing. I think of Koberger. I think of Jose Ibarra. What was going on? Again, could be nothing, but interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, that is interesting. And it was recent.
Yeah, last year.
December 5th last year. Yeah, so like a year ago.
Right. Oh, gosh. Wait, that was December 5th. And I did not pick that up. He did shoot Brian Thompson on the 4th.
Whoa, exactly a year later.
Wow, I did not pick up on that, Steve. That's really interesting.
Damn.
Wow. I wonder, see, there's something, like, I feel like it's always like it could be nothing, but I mean, why not just dig in a little further?
Oh, dude. And anybody that's not following you should be, because, yeah, watching your lives is really interesting, because you, like, are just in real time live, like your mind's just kind of actively going and you're just picking apart everything that you find. Like it's literally you as if you would be studying, or hunting down something, but you're not online. You're not live, right? Like I really like your style.
A lot of real time, like, hey guys, just sit with me while I click through stuff and I'll try to just talk and make some sense if if I can. I was doing that with the McCall, South Carolina case the other week. I was like, all right, let's go through this, which, by the way, I need to make another video on that because I have so much more information.
Dude, you're always covering so many cases at once. Like you're going deep on like the craziest ones also that are like really intricate with like different levels of info. So
no, my stomach hurt today, Steve. I really was like,
I bet.
Seriously.
Yeah, I bet so after today. Yeah, let's watch this here real quick. And there may be even some more, I would say check it all out, but I thought this was interesting. The guy that actually was there for the arrest.
This way a little bit.
Oh.
And then his partner that he was with, Officer Joe Detweiler.
Officer, could you maybe identify yourself and maybe describe that whole interaction and what played out?
Spell your name. Yeah, Patrolman Fry. Tylerfrye. So whenever we got on scene there, we were able to pretty much find where he was at in the restaurant. And as soon as he was wearing a blue medical mask. As soon as we pulled that down, or we asked him to pull it down, me and my partner and I recognized him immediately, just from what we saw in the media with photos, videos. We just didn't even think twice about it. We knew that was our guy, but he was very cooperative with us. Didn't really give us too many issues. Once we found out his identity, we took it from there.
How does it feel after 6 months on the job as a law enforcement officer to be part of to make this arrest?
I can't say I was expecting it by any means, but it feels good to get a guy like that off the street, especially starting my career this way. It feels great.
So upon his arrest, has he made any statements since his arrest? Has he asked for a lawyer yet?
To my knowledge, he hasn't made any statements.
How long was he staying in Altoona, and where was he staying? And then was the gun on himself, or was it in like a car somewhere?
We are still investigating how long he's been in Altoona. There's still a lot of follow-up to do in this case. Again, the men and women behind me are assisting with that. So we're still looking into it.
They're not giving up really
I'm gonna
anything,
ask,
right? Like
Lieutenant Colonel Bivens of the Pennsylvania State Police to address the question you just raised.
I would imagine the gun was on him, but they won't even really say
So
that.
there are a lot of things that need to be followed up yet in this investigation. Certainly, there were a number of items that were found on his person, in his backpack, that have been inventoried, and we've begun to do an analysis of some of those. There were written documents. There are electronic devices that are in the process of being downloaded. Search warrants are obtained. And so over the next hours and days, those efforts will continue. And we're going to take a closer look at all of the information that we can glean from that regarding his activities up until and during the time of the homicide, his flight from New York. And we know that he is...
anything, it looks like the guy in the back on the left, he purposely pulled out his tie. Like he zipped up his jacket and he's like, oh, this is a look. I'm going to pull out my tie.
I'm going all in on this look.
Why would anyone do that?
Been in Pennsylvania.
Why?
That is an odd look.
Several days. And so part of that investigation will also focus on trying to retrace his steps. We've already identified businesses, for example, that he frequented in this area and activities that he engaged in. That led us to more evidence. And so all of that is becoming kind of a mountain of evidence that has to be analyzed and looked at. I'm confident we'll have a much better idea of his activities over the past number of days in New York and in Pennsylvania. Additionally, we're also trying to determine that we don't have another actor or an accomplice out there. And so this information will all be used to help us prove or disprove whether that exists and whether there were any other intended targets. So a lot of questions that are out there that are unanswered yet, but we have a lot of information that we can examine that hopefully will give us some of those pieces of data that we need. You asked, or someone asked about the interview. He was initially cooperative. He is not now. And so he has been arraigned and transported.
Okay, well, that's...
He's not cooperative?
Yeah, that's changed.
Oh.
So initially, yeah, he's cool, and now at some point it's changed. Maybe the parents have sent in a lawyer, yeah. They're like, shut the fuck up, whatever you've done.
But like, why would they say he's not cooperative? That seems like a weird way to...
That is weird, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd almost feel like they would have kept that to themselves, too, like...
Yeah, I mean, yes, he is an alleged assassin, murderer, but still he is entitled to a lawyer, and I wouldn't call that being uncooperative because he wants, a lesser prison sentence, but whatever. But that was kind of odd. You're right. That was odd.
You say that he is an actual suspect in the
Governor Shapiro, you mentioned that he was in Pittsburgh at some point. Is that correct? What
Yes.
do you know about that time in Pittsburgh?
Billy.
We're not going to get into any more details at this time. We would like to hear from any Pennsylvanian or any Pittsburgher who had any sightings or any dealings with the individual. That's why I specifically asked for anyone with tips to share that with us.
Can you talk about the extradition to New York? How does that process work? I know that you have your case here, but what happens with the New York part of it?
And how long does it take?
Sucks ultimately that it is in New York because we ain't going to get to see anything in trial-wise.
Oh, right. That's going to be so annoying if it's... Well, yeah, it is going to be in New York. I mean, I was actually wondering about this, and I'm not sure, but they did get the feds involved. Does that mean he's going to go to MDC, to federal prison, or is this guy going to Rikers? Because first of all, he's not cut out for either of those places. This Ivy League, all boys prep school.
Yeah.
I don't know if he thought that through necessarily.
I don't think anybody can think that stuff through, right? I mean, my God, dude.
Yeah, right.
Like, he may have some protective custody for a while, but eventually you're going to be fucked. Like,
yeah, exactly. I mean, I have a friend, a very close friend. He is an investigator at Rikers for New York Health and Hospitals, and he actually said it's the worst place on earth. He doesn't know anything worse than Rikers. It's so bad.
wow.
I mean, I probably know more than I should know, but I can't say everything, but I mean, there's just, I think he told me the other day there was this whole overdose that happened with a bunch of inmates, and he's like, yo, I've never seen more vomit in my entire life.
Whoa.
And it all happens when
a bad batch of something got in there and everybody was doing
when they go to court, they I don't know, something happens at Center Street or whatever the hell central booking is, where they do some kind of exchange. Who the hell knows? But it gets in. And then you've got Eric Adams giving those press conferences like, oh, we seized all this stuff. We seized so much. And you're like, dude, he doesn't ever go to Rikers. He's been to Rikers once, I swear, in the last year to take a picture, like, with all the stuff, CEOs.
He's super slimy.
Yeah. Oh my God.
He's cool with whoever's in office, right? He's like he's good with whoever's in office, right? Like, he was all about being on the dim side, and now he's kind of flipped it since Trump's in.
Yeah, because he wants.
I saw him talking earlier.
Right?
Yeah, like now he's trying to kiss ass, and we're trying to clean up the streets of New York, and
Yeah, but his indictment is a federal indictment, and the only one that can, help him out there is Trump.
Yep,
so I know
that's
what
why
he's
he's
doing.
kissing his ass.
He's smooching that orange ass, okay? So,
Yeah, I don't really like him, honestly. He's I definitely didn't like him during the last little bit of what was going on because he was so not giving a fuck when, I mean, dude, like, New York is insane with crime, right? Like,
yeah,
you were kind of touching on it earlier with the Daniel Penny thing, and
yeah, you know what, Steve? This is really funny. So I can just to give you, my purse is right here, and I have, this is just for this is on my purse just to have it, like, dangling off to show people, like, hey, I'm not as dumb.
It's not going to be easy.
No, yeah. So then, and then if you search further, I have, you're gonna laugh. Some of this is silly, but I have see, and this wouldn't be helpful, Steve, if I was, in a situation, but I do have a retractable baton.
Yes, that's awesome. Ready to go. So if you sling it out, it's going to open, right?
Yes, it does. And then so I just changed bags. Women will know we change our bags sometimes. So I have a really great pocket knife in the other bag. And then I have a big can of wasp spray as well. So
nice.
Yeah,
damn, I would not want to be hit with wasp spray, I can assure you.
Listen, I've never had to use it, and I praise God that I never have to use it. But
yeah.
if I do, I'm prepared.
Because you're right in where you, like, every viral video from New York City is right where you're at, like right in fucking Manhattan in the city, right? Like,
yeah, it's been crazy the last couple of years, I would say, and it's really unfortunate because New York hasn't had a Republican, a great Republican candidate for mayor in a long time, nor have they had a common sense Democrat. And me, I'm not going to get political, but I do care a lot more about local politics than I do about.
That's the smart way to do it, right?
Yeah, because it affects me. So when Eric Adams is in office and Kathy Hochul is in office. Oh, thank you. That's so nice. At the time when he was, my son was like 2 or 3 or something, and he was forcing him to wear a mask in preschool.
Oh,
and
dude, yeah.
Dude, his mask is full of snot and nasty.
That shit was absolutely out of control.
Yeah, and then I don't know if you remember, but for a while you had to show a vax card for kids above the age of 5 to get in restaurants, museums, Broadway shows. And I'm just like, no, this is not.
I remember how insane it got. Yeah.
And I'm
not
and
like,
anti-vaxxer,
dude, same here. Dude, same here. Like, I have a lot of really crazy takes, but I'm not an anti-vaxxer. But some of the takes I have, people wouldn't even listen, and they would immediately probably link me up with like the far right, just because I'm not like just gonna sink into the left, and I think they're a little bit crazy. Like, I'm way more in the middle. Like, I consider myself a libertarian, not to get political, but
yeah,
like I can see value in both sides, and I think that we need to find middle ground before we can find any fucking ground. And I mean, it's ridiculous, dude. But no, some of that COVID stuff was ridiculous. Like,
yeah. No, I'm so with you. So I think, and that's me. I'm pretty centered, I guess, and I think both sides can be totally crazy. But when it comes to this stuff, I'm just like, well, wait a minute. So I did campaign for Curtis Lewa, and unfortunately, he is not the guy either. But at the time, I was like, well, I guess this is better than what I feel like I have over here with Eric Adams, and I mean, Curtis Lewa brought his cats to the polls. So I feel like, I'm like, you don't really care about people. Because my husband, who's like completely apolitical, he's like, you want me to vote for the guy that wears the red beret and brings his cats to the poll? And I'm like, I know that sounds crazy. So it's kind of like, do better, Curtis Lewa.
Dude, no.
You care about the city, but you screwed us. Sorry, did I just see somebody say Eric Adams tried to bring them to court?
Yeah, that was Brooklyn.
What happened with that? That's insane.
Yeah, Brooklyn posted up there. That's also a mod in here. Let me give her a little love. Hold on, I got.
Yeah, Brooklyn. I want to know what
of
happened.
Brooklyn. Yeah.
Hey, I just thought Phil just called me. My wrestling name is Conlin the Baton. I don't like that, Phil. I want something cuter, please. Make me feel cute.
No, that's not very good at all, actually.
Like my son calls me big lady. I just want to point that out. He's 6. And we started with like, hey, big guy, you know, whatever. What's up, big guy? And now he says, hey, big lady. And I'm like, no, we don't like that in my house.
In wrestling, there was a wrestler that carried a nightstick, but he was the big boss man. I don't know if you remember the big boss man, if you ever watched wrestling, but
I did watch wrestling.
he's like early 90s, like late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, well.
But he carried a nightstick, and he was all about law and order. Like, he was also from Cobb County, Georgia.
Yeah, I gotta look him up then. I don't remember.
I'll pull a picture up just real quick.
Yeah,
just to bring up the
refresh
big
my
boss
memory.
man.
But I definitely had that town mall that had Mankind come.
Oh yeah.
And like, yeah, I think I just watched through 3 Faces of Foley, and I was totally obsessed. So.
I loved Mick Foley. Was actually probably my favorite. Actually.
Wait, I don't remember him.
Yeah, this was probably 88 to like 90, 93 or so. Like,
that's before I didn't watch it. I didn't get into it until probably like 98, 99.
This is the true crime pro wrestler right here, right? This is the big boss man. He's here to take. What's funny is during that era, like they actually had him. So like, who do you have him feud with, right? You have him feud with a guy that escaped prison, and his name was Nails. Hold on.
Amazing.
Hold on. I just have to show you. We're not going to get off on a crazy wrestling tangent, but I'm just going to show you Nels real quick, just because it's hilarious that this is the guy that he was feuding with.
So funny. Wait, that's
this is
smart,
Nels.
actually.
He wore like a prison uniform and everything.
I was going to say the jumpsuit. That's amazing.
He was also very intimidating. Like, he looked insane. Like.
I mean, Phil, do I look like him? Clearly, with like, I mean, what?
Conlin, the baton. Ladies and gentlemen, now making her way down the aisle.
I know, but like, I wish I didn't have to carry this stuff with me, or I guess I wish I didn't have to.
Dude, that's scary. Yeah. I mean, I see all these videos and stuff, and I mean, you know, I have lots of friends up there actually now. Jay's close to there, but you're really in the heart of it. But
yeah,
I will say this. So, like, I mean. We see so much online, but I mean, it's not just like you're going outside your house, not just seeing someone being beat to death on the sidewalk or.
No, nothing like that. No. But I mean, it's funny because now my kids, they're younger, they're 6 and 8, and they have tunnel vision at the most ridiculous stuff. I mean, we saw a guy get his cell phone swiped by a guy on a bike. And they're just like, man, like that's rough. I'm like, yeah, hold on to your stuff. And then like we keep walking. And sometimes I forget to be like, that shouldn't happen. That's not normal. But like, I'm just, you know, we're kind of used to it at this point. But no, it's not like you walk outside and it's chaos and it's mayhem as of now. But I don't know if you saw this, Steve, but Hawk Newsome, the BLM guy who's out there saying that we.
I did see that. Oh my God, dude.
Like, what are you doing?
Dude, he's calling for black vigilantes to.
What?
Cause chaos in the streets, like that Black Lives Matter stuff, dude. Like it's crazy. It's outrageous. No, that was absolutely.
Like, did you think
crazy.
People were cheering Daniel Penny on in the subway, being like, "Kill him, kill!" Like, what?
Yeah. Like the way they like fuel the race side of it makes me really sick, honestly. Like,
yep.
And that's almost all on the left side, like really being fueled and pushed into this race narrative by everyone. And, you know, is a racist? Fucking yeah, there's horrible pieces of shit all over the planet, and especially here in the United States, but everything should not be through that lens. Like, and especially this Daniel Penny thing. And with bystanders and some of the videos that you could see, people talking that were there, some black folks that were there talking and also saying, hey, no, this guy was erratic and crazy. Miss me with that bullshit, dude, because I hate it. It makes my blood boil. Like,
yeah, and that's part of the reason that his defense attorney Tom Caniff wanted a mistrial, because they were making it a hate crime and they were turning everything into race, and that's not what it was about. In the eyes of the law, that's not what it was about. And it's important to note also that Daniel Penny didn't know that Jordan Neely had died after this whole thing happened, and he had restrained him and the cops came and everything. He was technically still alive. He had a pulse, which is why he was kind of acting so nonchalant about it. So, I mean, the whole thing is heartbreaking, but I can't lie. It's crossed my mind a few times if I do, God forbid, get into some sort of encounter, or I am scared, or, you know, whatever, and I'm white and I look like a yuppie and I look like whatever I am, I look annoying. I am scared to defend myself.
Nah, dude, that's the way they paint folks today. It's fucking gross. Like, I hope that we're moving more and more away from that. Seeing that today by that dude, the Black Lives Matter guy, that was pretty gross, and that's honestly scary. Honestly, like, seeing that and living there, I would be like, what the actual fuck? I did see that some folks were even being arrested today.
Right. Oh,
so
yeah.
I don't know, man.
Totally. And hold on, I want to find for you that when this first happened, I know I screenshotted it, but like I can't help it, and I did slide into his DM, so it's my fault for starting it.
Yeah.
But he was being so divisive, and I was like, why do you have to be so divisive about this? Why does it have to be black versus white? Why can't it just be life for life for life for life? You know what I mean? And what's his name again? Hawk Newsome. I said this. I was, oh yes, I have. Oh yeah, I have this. He said, this is what he said to me. Okay, guys. He said, this is my screenshots from when I said this. Oh wait. I said, you're so full of shit. You didn't care about Jordan Neely before this happened. That wasn't nice of me.
Good, coming in hot, baby. Hey, in the emojis, if you remember, I've got a very good emoji for this rant that's about to go down. There's a spicy emoji in there. Get her going.
Yeah. And then he said, you should pay more attention to your style than me. You are one of the worst dressed people and fashion illiterate people I've ever seen. I was like, what? I mean, like, fine, okay, but like, that's how you want to play this? It was so weird. It was almost like you don't have any, I mean, I guess I wasn't super helpful, but I mean, at least keep it relevant, at least, you know, something. And
he came in very childish, right? He was like coming after you the way you dress. I mean,
oh yeah. So I said, you're a joke. You think you're the only one that helps people in need? Get over yourself. Not all of us post about it for clout. Everyone else who was murdered, everyone else who was harassed in the subway, the woman who was recently stabbed, you're silent. But yeah, I can't dress. And then he goes, literally, your pics contain one fashion atrocity after the other, like Walmart pics.
He's actually going in. Like you made points, and he's like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm doubling down on I have nothing. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah. So then there's a picture of me and my family on Easter. I screenshotted this, and I'm wearing like a dress with like a white jacket. Like I dress so plain. That's the thing. If I like took risks, sorry, I don't know how I got off this tangent. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, and he literally did like laughing emojis on all of like, and I'm like, what? That's a dress with a white jacket, man.
Dude, what the fuck? People are insane.
Weird. He's a
people
weirdo.
are fucking insane.
That's unhinged. Okay, so the guy that you're saying, you know, inciting violence, he's unhinged.
Dude, and there's so many folks like that have prominent positions and they have fucking millions of followers and they're like, you know what? So recently I've been watching a lot of old interviews and just, I mean, I do that actually pretty regularly, but watching some of these old interviews with a lot of these different folks, and it can be political interviews. One thing that I've noticed that is completely different from today is the way that they can be on completely opposite ends of the spectrum, but still will let each other finish their statements or make their points. Mm-hmm. And that's really not a thing anymore, is it? Like everyone's just down each other's throats instantly, like, and being extremely petty, like what you just showed there. Like I don't have a point, so I'm going to come after the way you look. Like,
no, I started. I'll take responsibility for starting, and I wasn't very nice. I wasn't.
You did come in hot. You did come in hot, but I mean, still, like,
yeah. And Steve, I didn't think he'd read it because he has like millions of followers, whatever. And I'm sure I thought his inbox was just crazy. And again, I just had it. It's like, it doesn't have to be about race until you make it about race. This city is already so divided.
Dude,
it's awful, but
the worst time right now for that shit.
Mm-hmm. And just going back to what you said about having a conversation that's respectful and allowing people to finish their thoughts if you don't agree. I did an interview with a lawyer out of Florida, Matt Timpanic, and we discussed the Karen Reed, John O'Keefe case. And he is under, he believes that Karen is guilty. And I am not convinced that she's guilty, but I stay out of all this stuff,
I don't get into it really.
Well, we had a great conversation. I preface with that, and I said, I would love to have you on because it really isn't interesting to me to have someone sit there and agree with me the entire time. I want to be challenged. I
like that stuff too. That makes for the best,
exactly.
Conversations, really, and watching it. Like,
yes,
like if I'm watching this, like people just endlessly agree all the time, it ends up getting boring. Like,
totally. And he was great. We had a conversation. It was, I didn't feel like my mind was necessarily changed or anything, but I saw where he was coming from. And my point was proved in the fact that what I wanted to bring up is he's a defense attorney. And I know this stream has gotten so...
No, you're good. Yeah.
No, it's gotten off topic. But, the thing for me is that people have said that Yannetti pushed the conspiracy theory and all this stuff. And if you look at the affidavit regarding Steve Scanlon, I mean, I kind of pointed out, sure, maybe Yannetti asked after about Conlin Albert and about other people. He asked around because it was offered to him by someone who is a private investigator, a friend of Brian Albert for the past 30 years, worked with him on the force, boxed with him, whatever. It was introduced that it could have been a fight. So as a defense attorney, my question for him was like, are you just going to sit there and be like, oh, okay, like, and then move on? No, you're going to dig. You're going to see if there are legs to this theory, to this defense, if that's even possible. And that's what they did. And did they go too far? Depending on what you believe, probably. I don't know, because I wasn't there either. So that was just my point, where I just want people to look at things from the lens of the other side, where it's like, yeah, I look at things the side of the prosecutor. I get why they're doing certain things. I don't get why they're continuing with this case. Again, this is kind of.
I just saw your post today. Is it postponed?
Yeah, it's been postponed until April, but I feel like this might be good for the defense, because I mean, the longer you wait, the more people from Mass State Police might end up losing their job. You won't have any people to testify.
I don't think they're like, from what I can see, however you fall on this case, man, the one thing that's undeniable to me is the corruption within that police department.
Totally.
I mean, it all came out right there on the stand. That's some of the grossest shit out there. Like,
yeah, exactly. So I do think that it's interesting. The longer that they wait, I think that less of a case will be built for the state. Because I mean, and who knows what's going to happen with Mass State Police when it comes to Sandra Birchmore as well. This federal investigation could blow everything up. I don't know. And it might be nothing. Again, I feel like what they're doing is just not right in terms of making this a murder trial. It's just not right. She's not a vicious, calculated murder.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like I can see other things happening, but yeah, at the end of the day.
Exactly. And if she accidentally hit him, Steve, then prove it to me and I will say, oh, okay, I was wrong. But right now, where I stand is like, I think that this is just, it's inappropriate for the Commonwealth to. And
they can't let it go, right? They can't admit that they fucked up this bad for this long. Like, it's been going on for such a long time now. And it was 2020, if I remember right, wasn't it?
2022.
2022,
actually.
okay.
But still, and they
going about 3 years though.
Yeah, they might be doing this and doing this on the witnesses' behalf, right? Because the witnesses have felt like they've been on trial and they just really want a conviction so they can say, look, this is not on us. Whatever. Who knows? But that also just makes me feel icky, the whole thing, and how everybody is so mean to each other over it.
Oh my God. That's why I can't get into it. Like, I've covered it a little bit, and when Jay and Bob were doing it, I would kind of, and at one point I would even kind of get into the fights on X, and I can't get into it, man. It's too much. Like, when people get to that level of fighting it, because I can get sucked into it too, man, and I'd try every day to become a little bit bigger than that.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't get sucked in. Just don't even. I mean, I was posting an update while I was multitasking and doing, oh, that's nice, and doing a million things. And there was a hearing, and I just thought that it was a discovery hearing, and the defense called it so they could argue some things or whatever. And I just said, oh, I'm going to see Alan Jackson argue this, whatever. And it was such a generic statement, Steve, and you should have seen the hate I got. It was like, that like this prosecution's going to be there too, don't you? All these things. And I'm like, man,
you can't make any kind of, you can't even make a normal statement. Like you can't really say anything like.
No.
And if you're if you're in the middle and you're kind of riding the fence, you're also a piece of shit. You know what? Fuck you. If you're not on.
That's true. If you say you're in the middle, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, dumbass, well make up your mind," and you're like, "Oh, okay, sorry, I didn't know."
That's literally how it is.
Sorry.
It's completely ridiculous.
Totally.
Julie coming through here with $10. Super channel. I'm a noob. Welcome in here. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
Noobs love that.
I got a little bit here. Yeah, this is crazy though, and I'm definitely going to be keeping on top of this. And when's the next time you're going live?
Oh, me? So I think Jarrett and I are going live. Actually, I know we are. I have to set that up after this and probably promote it. But Jarrett and I are going live on my other channel, Primetime Crime Show at 10:30 a.m. tomorrow.
Oh,
so
nice.
We'll tackle this from like a prosecutor perspective as well. He's good about that. He's one of those guys, Jarrett's great. One of those guys that's super just not biased about anything. He just straight up looks at the facts and he's
that's
like,
the way.
Yeah.
I can't do that basically ever. Like I always end up on some side or the other. But dude, that's the way. That's the freaking way. Like you have to be unbiased when you look at this stuff. I always end up going with like, you know what, this guy's definitely guilty. And then I will literally like immediately after be like, well, I don't definitely know if he's guilty. Why did I even say that? Like, why did I
know what you mean. I know what you mean. Totally. And so did you watch? Actually, no. I don't think it's hit. I don't know yet if it's hit streaming services. But it's the Clint Eastwood movie, Juror Number 2. Did anyone see it in theaters?
I don't think I've seen that. No.
Okay. I mean, I wouldn't say that I guess it's worth watching. But I feel like any movie that has to do with just trials in general or whatever, I can't watch them anymore because I'm like, that would never happen.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I wanted to enjoy that movie, but I sat awake after playing all these different scenarios in my head at how I would have rewritten it, and it just ruins everything for me.
Yeah, no, being this close to it and seeing like really what's going on, and yeah.
Yeah.
Police shows are bad for just kind of like doing some really unrealistic stuff. So.
Totally. And just next week. Is it next week? Oh yes, it is next week. So I'm doing some other work on other cases and possibly for other I don't even know how to say this. Other channels not pertaining to YouTube, but I am going out to Oklahoma for the pretrial hearing for, the Kansas moms case, Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly, the Kansas moms that were missing and then killed by the 5 defendants that looked like they were.
I don't know it really well, but I've heard about that one.
Yeah. So I'll be going to cover that next week, and
you'll be there in person, man. That's awesome. Like you're all over, like boots on the ground, all over the place. Like,
I mean, I will tell you, Steve, this is. I don't even know if I'm talking about it on a live stream, but I'm just like, oh, it's to get there from New York, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be awful.
Yeah, it's going to be way different than New York too. It'll be crazy.
What's that?
And it'll be way different than just being in the bustling New York area.
Yeah, I'll stick out like a sore thumb. I should order some cowboy boots or something. I don't know.
That'll be awesome. Yeah, man. Like I said, anyone in here not following you, all of her deets is down in the description. Go and give her a follow because her lives are super fun because it's like a real-time train of thought journey that you go on with her as she's like really breaking down and kind of figuring out in real time where she's getting to. It's a really cool live stream experience. Hope you keep doing that style.
Thank you.
Plus, you do tons of interviews with like.
But you know what? I'll try.
Like you do tons of interviews with like cool celebrities too.
Yeah, I just did one today with Howie Mandel, so I'm gonna try to. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Cool. He was nice. He really wanted to promote what he wanted to promote. I kind of tried to steer him in a few different directions, and he would come back to Deal or No Deal, America's Got Talent. I'm like, I don't care that much, but
yeah.
You're awesome. So
That's pretty wild, dude. That's a pretty wild one, actually.
Yeah, so I'll get that out maybe tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest, just so it doesn't get stale. But and I gotta go back and repurpose some of my old interviews that didn't get a lot of love back in the day, but I think could do pretty well now. So I should get on that because I just haven't been active on YouTube at all really until I would say August, when I was kind of going on with Joe Jack alone, and he's like, you should do one, and I was like, oh, okay, I have one that's sitting here, and it's hard. I'm too lazy sometimes to add that, but
now you're getting in there though. Like, no, it's happening fast. So
I don't know about that, but thank you for saying that.
Killing it. Yeah, the next time you'll see me should be tomorrow night. We're gonna do Murder Church 8 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. And yeah, man, Lauren, thank you so much for coming on here.
Yes, thank you for having me. This was super fun. Sorry I got so off topic.
No, this ruled. No, this was perfect. Hopefully you'll come back soon.
Anytime you want.
Nice. Hell yeah. Everyone, thank you so much. As you leave, hit the like, and thank you so much. Later.
Pittsburgh.